We're down here in West Arlington today along the banks of the Battenkill, where the Battenkill Watershed Alliance is doing work on the riverbank, continuing a project it's been working on for the past several years. Woody debris and other natural cover for the trout are key to keeping the trout population returning. So we're going to go down and talk to some of the folks who've been involved in the project and see what's going on. Let's go have a look. So Cynthia, what's happening here? We have big backhoes in the river, people walking up and down. What's underway here?
Yeah, it's a little scary, but we have all our permits and everything we do is guided by the state fisheries biologist. But what we're doing at this project is trout habitat restoration by installing cover and shelter structures because the trout need more cover and shelter. But a really important feature of this project is that we are stabilizing the banks of the cemetery.
There's a cemetery on the other side?
The West Arlington Cemetery is right on the other side. You can see a bench at the top of that bank. The graves are right at the top of the bank. And the river has been eroding into the bottom of the bank just a little bit, eating into it, and there's been a little bit of bank failures. We've got trees on the bank, but we know that during Tropical Storm Irene in other parts of the state, cemeteries actually suffered bank failures, erosion, and caskets, graves were washed away. So we are installing bank stabilization structures all along the toe of the bank to be sure that the river, or to try to be sure that the river, knock on wood, that the river does not erode these banks.
So what is the connection then with the trout population? As we all know, the Battenkill used to be a trout fishing paradise, stopped being so several decades ago at this point. Is the population recovering, and is this work designed to kind of help continue that process?
Yes, the population is recovering. We've been doing the installation of cover and shelter structures of wood and stone in sections of the Battenkill, starting at the 313 bridge near the rec park and moving downstream and sort of jumping along. So we're trying to create as much really good habitat as possible. And the fish shocking census, where they shock the river and they count the fish, is way up. In places where we did these structures, in pools, the fish population has increased 500% compared to what it was before and compared to other parts of the river that were not worked on. So this kind of confirms the scientists' hypothesis that lack of adequate cover and shelter is what the river was missing. It used to have more, and then somehow it got so there wasn't enough wood, weren't enough pools. So we're trying to jumpstart that habitat to create good habitat for the trout.
So that means putting in like woody debris along in the river and making sure that the trees are giving them enough protection from predators?
Absolutely. We want to have big trees on the bank that will eventually fall in. We're not just putting them anywhere, we're always putting them in places where the trout can use them. We're putting them in places that stabilize the bank. We always are aware that people are boating and floating in tubes, which we try to avoid any kind of hazard for them. And we're not going to be able to do this forever because we're running out of money and we're running out of river. But this is like a jump start, and we're hoping that the structures we put in will collect enough natural debris that it will sort of be self-perpetuating. And better river dynamics, which is another thing that this project does, can help the river naturally create pools and create and hold the wood in the habitat.
What is the timeline for this project? I mean, do you expect to get, we're not far from the New York State boundary here. Is that next year going to go on to the next one?
Well, we've actually already worked another river bend or two. We've already worked down there. Like, we're sort of skipping around depending on landowner willingness. And we only work where the scientists say this is a good place to work. We don't just do whatever we want. So we've already worked a place down there. We may or may not be able to work further down near the state line. It depends on funding and it depends on landowners and what the scientists say. The scientists are starting to say, you need to protect the trees on the bank, plant more trees on the bank, and be sure that they stay there. That's the most important thing in the long run. We're not going to be able to keep doing this forever. I should say that this work is primarily financed by the Green Mountain National Forest, also the Trout and Salmon Foundation, and also the members of the Alliance. And we couldn't do any of this work without that funding.
Okay. We're here with Scott Wixom, who's a biological technician for the Green Mountain National Forest. going to tell us a little bit about the connection between woody debris and the trout habitat. And Scott, we're looking at pieces of slate and these large trees here, or dead trees. Why is it important for these to be in the river, and how do they help the trout prosper and survive?
Well, Andrew, what we're trying to do with this project and projects we've done like this in the past is improve or restore habitat for brown and brook trout in the Battenkill. We've done many studies over the years looking at some of the reasons for the declines of the brown trout in the Battenkill. And after just a real lengthy review of a lot of different parameters, what we've come to is that it's probably predation based on lack of available habitat, that cover, that refugia that the fish need to hide from predators. It also provides excellent cover for overwintering habitat, and what we're really trying to do is just jumpstart those natural processes you'd find in a healthy ecosystem.
How long would it take for Mother Nature to naturally rebuild that habitat, even with the assistance you're giving it here?
I think all we're doing is jump-starting it right now, trying to provide a little kick and help to the populations. I think what you really need in the long term, as much as I think we're doing a lot of good work here, is you really need healthy riparians. Those corridors are along the stream. They provide for cover, cooling of the stream temperatures, cover refugia for the fish. They provide filtration from runoff, and that's really what we need for the long-term health and sustainability of the river.
The surveys that you've done so far on the trout population and over the past 10 or 15 years, do they indicate that things are trending in the right direction, or are we still kind of stuck at a plateau?
No, I think they're definitely trending in the right direction. When we started these projects over 10 years ago, what we saw was we had a lot of very small fish, young of the year fish, and we had a lot of larger fish. What we did not have is that yearling fish, the 6 to 11 inch size class. Mm-hmm. And we believe that was because there wasn't that refugia, that cover that helped them from predation. And when we started this project, we had a heck of a time trying to find any fish in that size class. Mm-hmm. But over the years, we've found real significant gains in the population in that 6 to 11 inch size class. So yeah, we're very hopeful that we're headed in the right direction.
Work is going to be continuing on the Battenkill throughout this week until Friday the 16th, but there's a lot more work yet to be done. That'll be it though for this year, but in coming years, more work like putting these trees and woody debris back in the river, along with natural tree growth, will be part of the project. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever reporting from West Arlington.